Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking into a story that really gets to the heart of things like forgiveness, public apologies, and maybe those, silences between people.
Yeah,
We're tackling this recent development with Courtney Stodden and Chrissy Teigen. It actually brings back a public reckoning from, 4 years ago now.
that's right.
So, our mission today, really, is to pull out the key insights from the sources we've looked at.
Yeah.
We're exploring these old wounds, this honestly kind of audacious act of kindness, and asking if redemption is even possible when you're met with silence.
And that's the core question, isn't it? What happens when someone you really deeply hurt tries to show you kindness, maybe reach out, and you just turn away? This isn't just, celebrity stuff. It feels much more universal. It taps into that human need for acknowledgement, for healing.
Right.
And what Courtney Stodden's actions really highlight, I think, is that for the person who was wronged, real reconciliation seems to need something personal, not just a public show.
A performance, yeah.
Exactly, and not getting that can feel like a second wound almost.
That definitely frames it powerfully. Okay, so let's start with what kicked this off again recently. Chrissy Teigen is facing some fresh criticism, right? Specifically about appearing on Meghan Markle's cooking show.
Yes, that seems to be the trigger this time.
It feels like that social media scrutiny kind of follows her, especially with any new public thing she does.
It does seem that way.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Courtney Stodden, who, let's remember, was the target of Teigen's really harsh past bullying. They did something pretty unexpected.
Very unexpected.
They posted on Instagram, and they urged followers, basically saying, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And they stressed no one deserves to be bullied, regardless of their past.
Which is quite something, considering the source of their own past pain.
Exactly. You can almost feel the weight in those words,
Wow.
extending empathy to the person who caused them so much hurt. And it didn't stop there. Stodden then sent Teigen a direct message, a DM. Just a small, kind of hopeful thing, simply saying, I'm here if you need to talk.
Wow. That DM, it's so simple, isn't it? It just cuts through all the public noise and the, audacity maybe, the courage it takes to offer friendship even after being hurt like that. It's fascinating.
It really is.
It doesn't feel like it was for drama, or for attention. The sources suggest it was just hope for maybe a real connection.
Yeah, an attempt to bridge that really painful public past with something, I guess, personal.
Exactly.
And it says a lot about Stodden, I think. But then comes the twist, the outcome. Silence.
Right.
The DM was seen, marked as seen. But according to Stodden, no reply, not one word.
Oof. Seen but ignored.
Yeah. Stodden described it as being completely ignored and said the silence echoed louder than any reply could. It was, and this phrasing stuck with me, the pain of kindness returned with nothing.
Wow. That's heavy. And that moment, that unanswered message, it really brings up a key point, doesn't it? Why does this matter now?
Right. Years later.
Because those past wounds, they don't just poof, disappear. Especially when the person who caused them is seen publicly as, this really kind person.
That contrast is stark.
It is. And forgiveness, well, it's often easiest when you feel seen, when your pain gets acknowledged, even just a little. And in this case, that personal acknowledgement from Teigen just wasn't there. It was missing.
Okay, so to really get the weight of this current silence, we probably need to look back, like you said. Let's rewind to 2021.
Yeah, the first apology.
Right. That's when Chrissy Teigen put out that very public apology. She called herself an insecure, attention-seeking troll, said she was ashamed and embarrassed.
I remember that.
And crucially, she claimed back then that she tried to reach out to Stodden privately.
Ah, okay. Claimed.
Exactly. Because Courtney Stodden's side of it, totally different. They said they never heard from Teigen privately.
Never.
Never. In fact, they said they were blocked by Teigen on social media at the time.
Blocked. While she's publicly apologizing.
Yeah. So it really felt like that big public apology was maybe for everyone else, just not the person who arguably needed it most.
That difference you just pointed out, the public apology versus the private reality, that feels absolutely critical here. When you connect the dots, you see this huge kind of painful gap, right, between saying sorry publicly and actually making things right privately.
Yeah.
And this isn't just like a minor slip-up. The sources really hammer home the effect Teigen's past words had on Stodden. It was profound.
Devastating, really.
Yeah, I mean, Stodden talked about carrying a suicide letter, about nearly letting go. Because words from someone you admire, or at least someone famous, they can cut so deep, way deeper than maybe anyone realizes. The impact was terrifyingly real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything in the sources, do you think, that helps us understand why? Why might a public figure go for the big public apology instead of the, direct private one? Especially when the harm was so personal?
Well, the sources kind of hint that public apologies are often about managing perception, right? PR, basically.
Okay, damage control.
Yeah. And maybe for Teigen, it was about saving sponsorships, keeping her public image intact. It seems like the main audience for that apology might have been the public, maybe her business partners, not necessarily Stodden directly.
So the target wasn't the person harmed. Interesting.
And despite all that deep, lasting pain, Stodden is still here, still standing, still seeming to look for that healing that maybe just some acknowledgement could bring, even now.
It's quite remarkable, actually, still pushing for some genuine closure after everything.
It really is. So jump back to today. The power dynamic, even with everything that's happened, it feels like it hasn't totally shifted.
How so?
Well, Stodden, the person who was hurt, is still the one reaching out, trying to connect.
We're taking the initiative again.
And Teigen's silence, whether it's on purpose or not, it kind of keeps that imbalance in place, doesn't it?
It does. The silence maintains the distance.
And it leaves this, like the source says, this kind of lingering ache. You see it reflected online, too. Some people are criticizing Teigen for the silence. Others are rallying around Stodden. But the core issue feels unresolved.
This whole situation, it feels like more than just another celebrity feud.
Definitely.
It's really a powerful lesson about accountability, isn't it? That it's not just about saying the words publicly, it's maybe more about the private actions.
A follow-through.
Yeah. The sources really seem to highlight how a public apology, if they doesn't have that direct personal engagement alongside it, can almost make things worse. It creates this gap between what people think happened and the reality for the person hurt.
Expectation versus reality.
Exactly. Which kind of leads to the big question. Can we really move on, truly heal, without acknowledging the scars we helped create? Not just telling the world, I'm sorry, but telling the actual person whose life was impacted.
That's a heavy question. So as you think about this deep dive, maybe consider that. Can reconciliation actually happen across that kind of void, that silence?
Yeah, can time or public apologies or even showing public remorse, can any of that ever really substitute for just a simple personal, I hear you?
Our sources really position this as watching Courtney Stodden continuing to extend a hand, even now.
Yeah.
And we're just left wondering, really, will Chrissy ever take it? What does that mean for genuine healing? And just the sheer weight of words, the ones spoken, and maybe even more powerfully, the ones left unspoken.